Well, we're about to midway point here of the program tonight. Welcome back, everybody. Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show live on a Wednesday evening from the Beach House Grill in Fort Collins. Of course, Steve Fairchild Coach Show brought to you by Bank of Colorado. Bank of Colorado, the way banking should be. UTEP Miners coming up on Saturday night from the Sun Bowl in El Paso. UTEP coming in at 3-3, just like you guys are, Steve. And I know they feel very good about themselves. They knocked off Tulane on the road, nonetheless, 44-7 this past week.
Real big win for their program. You know, one thing when you watch when you watch UTEP this year, they've gotten better each week. And, they're playing better and better. They're starting to run the ball better and better. And, they're going to be a challenge. They're a confident football team right now. And, we just got to find a way to bounce back and play our game. Because when we do, I think we can play with anybody.
Yeah, the Rams and the Miners haven't met up in a number of years. It's been over a decade since the two programs have hooked up. But they are longtime rivals playing in the WAC all those years. In fact, you played against UTEP a couple times.
Yeah, it's kind of a member of the old Western Athletic Conference. I remember playing there, there as a player. And then, when we first came back with Sonny, we were playing down there every year until the Mountain West Conference formed. So, now I believe they're in Conference USA, and who knows, maybe that we'll join up and be in the same conference again here before too long.
Well, technically, you are going to be in the same conference next year.
Right. So
with the merger or the alliance or the partnership or whatever it is.
There's a lot of familiarity with their program. Obviously Coach Duffy, coach down there. I hired him out the UTEP staff, and I've known Mike Price a long time. Mike, was at Weber and Washington State, and in fact, Larry Lewis on our staff worked for Mike for a number of years. So, there's a little bit of a connection, a little bit of we know a little bit about each other.
Yeah, Mike is, it seems like he's been around a long, long time. But, boy, the success he had at Washington State, he kind of put that program back on the map.
No question. And that's not an easy place to win. And went in there and got them going to bowl games. In fact, Larry Kerr and I back in the 90s flew up there and kind of did a little clinic with him and got to know Mike Price and his staff real well. And obviously he's done a good job. His record speaks for himself.
Yeah, so do you lean on Coach Lewis a little bit more this week about some of the tendencies of Coach Price?
Well, I think Larry's very familiar with him. There's no question, and he's also familiar with the number of coaches on their staff. So yeah, there is some benefit to having Larry's knowledge.
All right, we're going to give Coach a little bit of a break here. When we come back, we'll shift gears and talk to a Ram athlete. And Jake Kadowski, offensive guard, is with us in the house tonight. He'll join us coming up next. From Elegant Sports, Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show tonight on the Colorado State Sports Network. Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show continues here for the Beach House Grill. We're at 125 South College Avenue, Old Town Fort Collins. Tonight talking some Colorado State Ram football. And happy to be joined by a student athlete, as we do at this portion of the program each and every week. Jake Kadowski, offensive guard from Grand Island, Nebraska, joining us. Jake, thank you. Appreciate it. Give us an idea how the season has gone so far. In your eyes, you're healthy, so the season's gone well. That hasn't been the case for the rest of that offensive line.
Right. It's been a lot of overcoming injuries and having the young guys step up, and they're playing well, so it's working out.
When you look at the offensive line that you guys had coming in, obviously it was going to be a strength, and it still is a strength of this ball club, and then you see guys just continue to drop. What goes through your head?
Yeah, a lot of guys were really confident coming in, and then the younger guys are starting to get more and more reps, and they're stepping up, and they just got to fill in and step up and do the best they can. So,
when a guy like Capriolio goes down and then Paul last week, do you have to take it upon yourself as a veteran up front to kind of take more of a leadership role?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to help them every chance you get, the little nuances and the steps and everything, and you got to look out for them in the pass protection and stuff and try and help them every chance you get. So,
I know the run game's been a little inconsistent this year. Give us your evaluation on the run game and how you guys can get it going a little bit more.
Yeah, it has been, but it's been real close on all the plays. It's just one cut away or one block away from cutting a big one. So, we're looking to put it all together this week, and we're feeling pretty good about the packages we have. So,
Jake Kadowski, offensive guard, joining us in the program. You're from Nebraska.
Right.
And your dad played for the Big Red.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so did you consider walking on there at Nebraska?
I did, and that was a whole different era, though, with Bill Callahan there and everything. So they were kind of looking for something different. So it just didn't work out, and I'm definitely glad I came here, though.
Yeah, how did you end up at Colorado State?
Coach Stannard was recruiting me back then, and they offered.
Steve's a Nebraska guy too.
Yeah, he is, and they offered me, and I came out and loved Fort Collins and everything. So it's been great ever since.
Yeah, and I mentioned to you before we went on air, I had a chance to meet your mom and dad at the Albuquerque Marriott earlier this year, and they're going to be at every single game here this year.
Yeah, they're great. It's awesome that they come to every game. I get to see them every weekend.
You know, your mom's a big CSU basketball fan too.
Oh, she loves Tim Miles. She can listen to him talk all day. So.
And he will talk all day too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you had a chance to get your mom to meet Tim yet?
I think she met him down in Denver for the pregame or the day before game tailgate. So
okay.
She was excited. She told me right away. So.
Jake Kadowski, offensive guard, joining us here on the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Talk a little bit about preparing for UTEP, and you come off a loss like you did against Boise. Do you just have to put that out of your mind and move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. That's only one game, and we got half the season left. So we're focusing on UTEP, and we got a lot of things schemed up, and we're going to get after them. So.
Hey, UTEP has been a little susceptible. I believe they give up 450 yards a game. Do you guys feel you can go in there and have one of your best offensive days?
Right. Absolutely. We have to have one of our best offensive days, and they're going to come out fire, and they came off 2 big wins. So, we're going to come out fast and, give it everything we got.
Yeah, and you guys have been confident on the road this year, too. It's because you've won 2 road games. Yeah. Do you guys approach this with maybe a little more confidence?
Yeah, we are. We've been playing well on the road this year, and it's great to see because last year we struggled. But, we definitely feel, we can go in there and get a win. So.
All right. Hey, Jake, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Best of luck Saturday.
Okay, well, great. Thank you.
All right, that's Jake Kadowski, offensive guard from Grand Island, Nebraska. We'll be joined by Pat Meyer, offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, up next from Nelligan Sports, the Colorado State Sports Network. A few more segments left on the program here tonight. Welcome back, Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Wednesday evening, talking Ram football here at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins. Again, thanks to Jake Kadowski, offensive guard for Colorado State. And now we'd like to welcome in Pat Meyer, offensive coordinator and running game coordinator for Colorado State. Pat, thanks for joining us. Talk a little bit about Jake. I know he's an experienced guy that you have up front.
With Jake, since he's been here, you mentioned about his family and his parents. I mean, he comes from a great background. Great kid. He's started now for the last 2.5 years. A couple years ago, Shelley Smith, who now is playing down here in Houston, went down pre-season, and Jake had to step up, just like we talked about. He talked about injuries. He had to step up as a young player, as a sophomore, and went in and started 5 or 6 games for us, and we didn't miss a beat at all. Losing Shelley is a good player. Thought it might hurt. Kid like Jake stepped right in and didn't miss a beat, and he's just been a solid contributor to this team since he's been here.
The offensive line is your group, and I know it's a group you take a lot of pride in. What goes through your mind when you have Joe Capriolio going down, and then Paul Madsen, 2 of the top tackles in the Mountain West Conference, and 2 stalwarts on your line? What goes through your mind when you see those guys go down?
And I just feel bad for the kids. I really do. I mean, that's why we go out there and you practice the young kids, and you work with them as much as you do as veterans, even more so because they're the ones that need the reps, need to get better for situations like that. I just feel unfortunate for, Jared Beard, and another tackle, and he we lost him preseason, and then Joe Cap went down. Boy, what a great player he is. And then unfortunate Paul being a senior, but we'll get Paul back here soon. But it just you practice the young kids, and you teach them and you rep them, and they just got to fill in and step up just like Jake did when he was a sophomore. And the 2 freshmen that are playing for us right now actually did a fine job versus Boise State, which is good.
Yeah, and that's not an easy situation to go into for guys with limited experience in Hathaway. And to talk about those 2 redshirt freshmen that you're probably going to be starting on both tackle positions coming up Saturday night.
Sure. No, they'll both start. And they both, like I said, they both played the majority of the game versus Boise because Paul went down pretty early in that game. Yeah. So, but they really didn't miss a beat. They really, played. Paul's a very good player, but when Hathaway had to step in for Paul playing the weak tackle position, we really didn't miss a beat, in terms of, experience we did. And Paul, obviously it's hard to replace a kid like that, but, they work hard during practice to do that. I mean, both those young kids, Sembrellas now is played a bunch this year already, so he is experienced. The funny thing about it is both these kids are going to play the rest of the season for us. They're going to play 400 or 500 more snaps the rest of the year. Come next spring and come next fall, they're not going to be penciled in as starters. They're going to have to fight for playing time because we're going to get Caprillo back and get Marshall Beard back. So they're going to have to fight to get back on the field again, which is a good thing. That means, we're just building our depth, too.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I know you and Steve have talked about over the last couple of years when we talk about the offensive line. You guys have always said you really feel good about some of the youth and the depth that you have coming up in that offensive line group.
Oh, no, you take those two that stepped in now, and they're playing as freshmen. I mean, you like linemen to come in, and Coach Fairchild talks about it all the time. You like linemen to come in. You like them to redshirt. You'd like them to back up for a season. Then you'd like to get them in play as a sophomore part-time and be 2-year starters and that type of stuff. It is a position where, mentally you got to be very sharp. You got to be smart. We do so much, in terms of calls and just protections and run schemes. So, the experience that way. And then, two, you're going against, a lot of guys that are juniors and seniors. They're 22, 21, 22, 23-year-old. And you play freshmen and sophomores. It's from a physical standpoint, they're behind a little bit, so we got to try to catch them up. But we really like our depth. We've done a nice job, recruiting offensive linemen here. Historically, we always have too. I mean, we really have, and continue to do that.
Pat Meyer, offensive coordinator at Colorado State, joining us on the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. The run game, Pat, and how do you guys get that gaining a little more traction and getting going as you hit the back half of the season? 6 games go.
It's going to be, imperative we do get that done. I mean, we're in the bottom of the category when you're talking in terms of run game, and that shouldn't be that way, especially here at Colorado State. Like you said, we got we got linemen, we got backs that we like. It's just Jake mentioned it. We're close on a lot, but close doesn't count. I mean, we got to get it done. We got to continue to run it and try it and go and I put it on us up front. I put it on the line. We got to if the back hits a hole or make the hole bigger for him and do that type of stuff. But we just got to continue to press on and keep doing it, and it's going to work out. I mean, we really think that we're going to have a breakout game in the run game this Saturday. I really do. I mean, the kids have practiced it. They're into it. They know the scheme, what we're trying to get done in the run game. So both the linemen and the backs, I mean, it's wideouts blocking when they need to block too. So we're all into it. I think we're going to have a breakout game here in the run game this week. Yeah,
UTEP coming up on Saturday night. Give us a bit of a scouting report from an offensive coordinator's point of view. What do you see when you look at that Miners defense?
They play hard. Their front seven, they play hard. You got some fast twitch, shifty guys up front that's going to obviously give us, especially on the edges, going to give our young tackles a challenge again this weekend. They play a lot of man coverage and a lot of press man coverage. So it's going to be a challenge for us. We're going to have to go down there. They've won 2 games in a row. They're playing at home. It's homecoming for them. We're going to have to go down there. We're going to have to play our A game. We're going to have to come out and start fast. That's going to be the key. And we always talk about that being a key, but. On the road, you got to eliminate mistakes, got to eliminate penalties, turnovers, those type of mistakes. Especially when you're on the road and you're playing a good team that's got some momentum now. They do. As you watch them, as they start from the starting game till now, they've gotten better. They've gotten better and better. So it's imperative we come out and we start fast, protect the ball, run the ball on them. Control it, keep our defense off the field. I think that's going to be pivotal in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, Miners played their best defensive game of the year last week, holding Tulane to just the 7 points. Pat, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Time to squeeze another telephone call in, probably our final one of the night, and let's hit the lines right now and go all the way down to Clearwater, Florida. Tina, welcome to the program.
Hi, Coach Fairchild. I have a couple of questions. I was at the game last week, and it was just awesome to see a couple of the gadget plays. Do you think we'll see more of them? Because I think they really worked well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We always try to catalog a number of double pass, reverse, those type of plays. I think kids like to practice them. Through the years, they've been kind of successful. We were able in the second quarter to score on a couple of those type of plays. So we've got a number up our sleeve, and we just kind of, as an offensive staff, decide when the right time and place to call those plays are. But, yeah, you will see a ton of them.
Could we have used them more against Boise State? Because it worked well against them. I mean, or it just didn't work out when you guys thought to do it again during that game?
Well, some of them are you want to set them up. I mean, if you're going to run something off of a particular play, like the one that Crockett Gilmore threw for a touchdown, it was off a screen action, so you kind of wait till you've run a few plays, a few screens like that to set it up. So, they're good. We like them, but you got to make sure those type of plays you set them up before you use them, or they tend to not work.
All right, Tina, thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call away from Clearwater, Florida. Ram fans everywhere.
I like Clearwater, Florida. No, that's a nice area.
And of course, you and your coaching staff, you guys get down to Florida a ton on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, it's one of the areas we recruit, and there's an awful lot of good football players down there, as there are in Colorado, Texas, California, everywhere. But we do. We've got a number of those kids on our football team.
Yeah, you mentioned those gadget plays and 3 touchdown passes now thrown from players outside of the quarterback. And it's nice when you do have players. A lot of them played quarterback in high school.
Yeah, you're talking about Lee Clubb and Charles Lovett, played high school quarterback. Crockett, obviously control the football. And, another thing those things do, everybody, you run a reverse and it doesn't work and everybody wants to say it's a bad call. But, when you show those things, people have to prepare for them, and when you show them, they tend to slow a defense down a little bit. So even when they're not huge successes, there's a benefit to calling those type of plays.
All right, we'll have more with the coach, Steve Fairchild, as we take another timeout here from the Beach House Grill in Old Town, Fort Collins. Timeout for Milligan Sports. It's the Colorado State Sports Network. Brian Roth along with head coach Steve Fairchild. I lied when I said we weren't going to go back to the phones. We'll squeeze in one more phone call tonight. We go to Denver. Eric, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Brian. Hey, Coach, sorry I couldn't be up there today. I ended up stuck in Denver, so I have 2 questions for you real quick. The first one is that everybody looks at rebuilding a program on a year-to-year basis, but it seems like that you're having to rebuild the program on a week-to-week basis with so many people injured. You lose players, you lose leadership, you lose practice time with some of these guys. First of all, how do you keep your sanity? And secondly, how do you, the coaches and the players, or what do you do on a daily basis to keep your focus?
Well, I'll tell you what, you're right. This when you talk about turning around a football program, it's a long process because you're talking about a roster of 115 people, and it's something that you can only change by up to about 20 per year. So we're slowly getting there. I'm very, very confident that each year we've got the type of talent that we need to win the Mountain West Conference. We're getting it in our program and we're developing it, and I can see on a daily basis very clearly where we're headed. I think you just got to be a little thick-skinned, obviously, and I'm disappointed like everybody else. I was hoping it was going to happen quicker, but we're getting there. There's a lot of very, very young, talented kids in our program. The injuries you can't worry about. It's part of the game. It's just something that's happened. We got to fight through it, and in the long run, it's going to be a benefit because you're talking about kids getting experience in spots that maybe wouldn't, and it'll add to our depth.
All right, Eric, thank you very much. And Brandy, and part of our in-house studio audience, grab the mic, Brandy. Go ahead.
All right, I need to say a huge thank you for last week because I had a request to score in the second quarter, and we did. But
that was totally your doing.
That's right.
That was all mine.
About that, yeah.
And my question is, on the trick plays that we have, do the players get to do plays also and give you a play? A request?
We do ask for input, and a lot of times it's just watching a guy like Charles Lovett screw around before practice, and it seems like everybody on our team wants to be a quarterback. If you give the football to a defensive lineman, you'd be amazed what happens out there before practice. But those guys run around, throw the football, and you start to say, hey, maybe he could do something, and between him and the coaches, we kind of draw up some screwy things. And like I said, the kids really like that stuff. They want to practice it and do well at it. And so we rep it for a while, and when it looks good, we'll pull it out of the bag and put it on a game plan.
All right, Brandy, thank you so much. You don't want to give the players too much room. Say, hey, draw us up some plays. You're going to have about 50 plays.
I'll tell you what, I do like to ask Pete Thomas what he's comfortable with because, I learned a long time ago, it doesn't matter what a quarterback, what the scheme says and what looks good on paper. You want what your quarterback's comfortable with. So Pete and I always talk, we get to the hotel on Friday about what we feel good about, and that tends to be what we'll call early in the game.
UTEP coming up on Saturday evening, Steve, and I think it's one thing that Pat said. I know you had mentioned it when we did the TV show on Monday night, and mentioned a little bit tonight, but they seem to be a team that is improving week by week.
No question. They're getting better every game. They're running the ball better. They're getting more confident. We're going to have to go down there and play a very, very good game to beat them. But I like our kids. This has been a really, really fun team to be around and coach. Our want to is at a high level, and like we talked about in our team meeting on Tuesday, there's a lot of football left. There's 6 games. There's a whole half the season left, and we just got to find a way to win this game. I think so. If we can pull this off this Saturday, there's going to be a lot of good things that happen.
Well, you guys have played well on the road here this year too. It's another thing you have going for you.
Well, our seniors and our experience, that's what helps. And we've gone down to New Mexico, we've gone to Utah State, and we just got to take the same no-nonsense approach. It's a business trip. We got to go down there and take care of business.
Yep, absolutely. Steve, best of luck coming up on Saturday. We'll talk to you down in El Paso.
Thank you very much.
That's head coach Steve Fairchild. And I have a beer sitting in front of me, apparently. That's right. Why are people buying the radio host a beer and not the head coach a beer? Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that. All right. Thank you to everybody that helped out with the program tonight. Jake Godowski, offensive guard, and, of course, Pat Meyer, offensive coordinator, in the house tonight. Charlie Grimes is back in Denver. For Bob Greenfield and the coach, Steve Fairchild, I'm Brian Roth saying so long from the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins.